Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for Monday, February 26, 2018. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Right now, ES is basically trading right here in the center of the range. We've talked about this before, how when you have a significant move like this and you have a major kind of stretch of that price data there, usually snap back toward the middle and then you kind of chop around and kind of build out. You'll also notice right here that we have a change in color here compared to what we usually see. That means that price is compressing compared to average as well. And so for the most part, the ES has been averaging 53 points per day on a 10-day average range basis. On a 5-day average range, it's averaging 43 points. Right now we're at 19 points for the day. So we have some more potential movement of that range or expansion of that range. For the most part, I've mentioned that we've been flowing to the upside, and the recent pullback was going to be an opportunity perhaps for this thing to continue higher and likely as high as that FOMC key level from January 31st. That's 28-29 quarter. And most of the time when you see price move away from that FOMC key level, whenever a rejection occurs, you usually come right back to that point. Now, most of the time, you don't also see a giant stretch of that data like we did here. So this is an extraordinary attempt to get that level. But for the most part, markets are pretty good about returning back to the scene of the original crime there. So we could see further overall uptrending behavior. The market hasn't really been in a hurry to get anywhere lately, but for the most part, we continue to push to new highs. We've had higher highs and higher lows day over day with an upward bias here. Continue to watch 2750. Holding above that zone should suggest more upside trending behavior. All right, let's take a look here at the NQ. There's the NQ. Now the NQ also has been pushing upward. The flow has been to the upside. This sell-off, while pretty significant, not as significant as what we saw here in the ES comparatively speaking, but this one is also stretched much farther and faster to the upside and is very close to reclaiming that FOMC key level from January 31st. That's the 69.65 quarter level for the most part. This will likely lead to more trending behavior to that target until proven otherwise. And at the moment, price is also back above that 68.70, 68.75 LVN here, and that suggests also a push to the outer edge of the range. That's 70.47 quarter. So we could be looking at a push and a continuation to new highs. Once that occurs, it's going to be very interesting to see if price can maintain acceptance above this key range high. If not, odds favor a rotation back toward the midpoint of the range, and that would be 66.53. Something to watch out for here over the next couple of weeks. All right, let's take a look at crude oil. Here's a look at crude. Again, we also have an impulse sell-off here that occurred, which gave us our key range and levels. For the most part, we've seen this thing flow higher as well. And we mentioned before that any failed new low here could slingshot price back to 63 and also as high as that 64.38. Again, there's a theme here. That 64.38 is the FOMC key level from January 31st. Price popped higher off of it, then took it offered until rejection occurred, and now is making its way back to that level for a retest. Just the sheer fact of getting back above 63 opens up a move back toward recent highs. That would take you into 66.29, and again, very similar to the NQ. If price were to do that, it would be an opportunity to watch for signs of rejection and perhaps a return back to the midpoint of the range, 62.18. So right now everything's flowing to the upside on a swing basis, but right now, at least on a short-term basis, price near the lows of the session here and perhaps pulling back toward the mid of Friday's range. All right, let's take a look at gold futures. Gold has continued to trade within this clear range here, 1309 to 1365. That's been the range to watch. For the most part, price has been trading in this range, and whenever we get to an edge, that's been the time to really kind of pounce and look for price to get back toward value. Value in the short term is 1331. It's kind of that HVN right there. And every time price gets to the little edge here of this D-shaped profile, that's when we're seeing fades back to value and then across the range. So right now we're chopping basically right in the middle of this HVN. And whenever you're chopping in the middle of the HVN, it can be difficult to really find a really good high probability entry or opportunity, because we could see further chop in this zone before we see a move back to the outer edge. This is going to be a higher quality and high probability opportunity, and here can lead to a little bit of chop, but it can make for some good day trading. So right now you see we're above 2-day highs, stop run day. That would tell you that typically speaking this thing needs to continue to hold in the upper distribution of the day. Otherwise, failure to hold, say 1338, could rotate this thing right back to 1335 half for a retest, and perhaps even lower. So keep an eye on that level on a short-term basis. Taking a look at XBT now. Here's a look at XBT. We talked about before that this rejection was likely to give us 10K, and if price could get above 10K, then we have as high as 12K. And price did a really good job of pushing through that zone, because it's all about price distributions right here. And the fact that we've pulled back here, we're retesting this LVN now from above. And this is what I talked about before. 9K becomes very, very important. If bulls can keep that 9K bid, which they will try to do, there's a good shot at developing an inverted head and shoulders here. And I know a lot of Bitcoin traders are fairly new to the game, and they would look to be long in this zone here where you're trying to get a breakout through resistance in that neckline. But professionals look to enter at this zone here where the LVN is, and the development of that pattern become the development, the Y, as this thing attempts to do this, if that were to be the case. So 9K is a very, very important level with a nice LVN there on the profile. That's a zone that bulls are going to want to defend, and on a short-term basis, value is 11,250. So you can get 9K to 11,250 on short-term rotations. Eventually, the optimistic bulls would want 12K to be breached for a return back to 15.9 and that December FOMC key level at 16,580. So that's a look at Bitcoin here. We'll be looking to see if bulls can keep 9K bid. There is a potential that it stays bid for a little while, and if there's a failure to get paid, stops will come out at 9K and we reach new lows. So that's the level to watch for bulls and bears. Alright, that's it for now. We do have Fed Chair Powell testifying this week, Tuesday and Thursday. That's going to be something very important to keep an eye on. Also, one heads up, next month, which will be the first trading day of the month later on this week, March 1st, we're going to do a monthly market outlook at the end of the session, 3:30 p.m. I'll provide my analysis and outlook for the markets on a longer term basis and provide some swing opportunities as well and take requests. So that'll be later on this week. Be sure to be on that. And that's it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session and the new week of trading. Good luck and trade well.